Hi everyone, my name is Carrie. This is the story of how I got rid of my horrible mother-in-law. Truth be told, I am not solely responsible for getting her kicked out of home. It was in fact her own antics that caused her to be thrown out. She almost went with the cops had I not been the bigger person. My mother-in-law, Elena, is simply an insane person. She's one of those woman haters who didn't want any woman near her. Unfortunately for her, she ended up having a daughter just after her son, and to add to her misery, her son Keith ignored her protests and married an ambitious woman like me. From the very beginning, Elena was super rude and judgmental towards me. Me and Keith met through a dating app which Elena found outrageous, she said. "Keith, why the hell did you pick up a woman from a dating app? You know girls of this type usually like to sleep around and cheat on their partners." "Mum, what is wrong with you? You cannot say these things about Carrie. She is a sweet girl and doesn't deserve your hate." "Elena, I have no intentions of sleeping around or cheating on Keith. I'm in love with him and we are actually thinking about getting engaged soon." "Oh my God, Keith, is this true?" "Yes, Mum, I'm planning on popping the question soon. Carrie knows it's coming, but the rest is a surprise." "She must be after your money, Keith. Why the hell would she hurry you into marriage otherwise? I'm telling you, Keith, this girl is not good for you." "I am not a gold digger, Elena. I earn very well for myself, to be honest. I earn much more than Keith right now. My field pays a lot, so I'll be comfortable for the rest of my life." Apparently that was the wrong thing to say. Elena became even worse after she found out that I earned more. She often berated me and hinted that I would be a bad wife. Something about working women being neglectful and disloyal. I had no idea why she found problems in everything I said. So I decided to ask Keith's sister, Maxine, about Elena. I said, "Maxine, I have no idea why your mum hates me so much. It's like, no matter how many times I prove her wrong, she finds something to complain about." "Mum is like that, Carrie. She thinks girls are either gold diggers or useless second-class citizens. It boggles my mind why she thinks like that, even after being a woman. She didn't even spare me. Mum neglected me all the time and it didn't even help me with college. She paid in full for Keith." Now, Maxine, you don't need to demonize Mum. Yes, you had a problematic relationship with her, but that doesn't mean she hates women. You have always been blind towards her, Keith. I don't blame you, actually. She was always a good mum to you. She loved you and spoiled you. You didn't see what she did to me." "Keith, I think Maxine might be right to some extent. I wasn't present when you two were teenagers, but I can see what Elena is like. Plus, I have noticed her dismissing Maxine's achievements." "There is no use trying to defend me, Carrie. Keith has always been biased about Mum. Watch out, Carrie. If Mum turns on you and wreaks havoc on your life, Keith might just take her side instead." Maxine and Keith got into a verbal spat after this. They were arguing about Elena's treatment and favoritism. It was very clear to me that Keith was somewhat disillusioned by Elena's motherly behavior towards him. She was actually a very, very toxic woman. I hated to be around her. Maxine's words also stayed with me. After Keith and I got married, I understood that she wasn't far from the truth. Me and Keith should have started our married life as a couple, but Keith ended up bringing Elena along as well. When we announced our engagement, Elena quit her job and demanded that we take care of her. She said that she was getting old and it was time we took care of her. Look, I never liked her, but I didn't say no, mostly because Keith wanted to take care of his mum. I lost my parents in college, so I didn't have the heart to turn him down. Elena started to live with us and she quickly became a living nightmare. She constantly ordered me around and literally did nothing all day. After I returned from work, she would say, "What took you so long, Carrie? Have you forgotten that you are a married woman? You should have been here sooner. There are plenty of house chores left. Who will do everything?" "Elena, I had a late meeting and couldn't get home sooner. I can't leave before completing my work in the office." "And what about the work at home? Do you expect me to act like your servant and do it for you?" "I will do everything now. Keith will help out. It's not a big deal." "Mum, you don't have to shout at her. We will do everything together. It doesn't take time when two people do it together." "Absolutely not, Keith. Men don't do house chores. Your father had never helped me out. This is Carrie's job. If she can't balance work and house chores, she needs to leave her job or get a divorce." Yep, that's my mother-in-law for you guys. She hated everything I did. I guess she hated my mere existence. Whenever I tried to talk to Keith about her, he would shut me down. He would say, Mum is old and she has some really conservative ideas. You don't have to take her seriously. She means no harm. Are you kidding me, Keith? You are not the one on the receiving end of her insults. It's humiliating and exhausting. I can't take her words anymore. Relax, you are overreacting. Mum can be cranky sometimes. I'll try to talk to her about her behaviour. You have to be a little patient with her. Maxine was right, guys. Keith rarely took my side. Yes, he did defend me against Elena at times, but mostly it was me whom he asked to compromise. I was getting tired of his behaviour. What's worse was the fact that I was paying a huge chunk of the household expenses because Keith was supporting Elena with his small salary. I felt disrespected and humiliated even after doing so much for Elena. The worst of Elena's behaviour was yet to come. It was a little over a year after we got married. Both me and Keith found 2 job opportunities that would increase our pay by a lot. We both got shortlisted by our respective positions and needed to go through an interview process to get the job. Unfortunately, Keith's interview was delayed due to some reason, but my interview was scheduled to happen shortly. Elena absolutely hated it. She said, "Carrie, you seriously can't be thinking of taking the job. That would not be good at all. You don't need to go to the interview." Why would I not take the job? It would raise my salary so much. I will finally have the job of my dreams. You are a married woman, Carrie. You can't think about your job all the time. If you get the job, you will earn way more than Keith. How can you even think of earning more than your husband? That is so disrespectful. Mum, that is ridiculous. I'm so proud that Carrie has got an amazing offer. I want her to get the job. This is her dream job. I don't care if she earns more than me. Don't be so naive, Keith. She will start to financially abuse you. She will lose all respect for you and treat you like shit. Plus, she will try to get rid of me. Don't let her go for this interview. I'm no one to stop her, Mum. I'm telling you that I don't mind all these things. You are overreacting a little. Leave her be, Mum. Elena, I have had enough of you treating me like shit. This can't happen again. What I do with my life is none of your business. You don't have the right to comment on it. Elena never backed down from her demands. She tried to do everything in her power to dissuade me from attending the interview. She even tried to say that I should not attend the interview to support Keith because he couldn't interview at his job. By the time my interview date grew near, I had gotten very, very careful. I knew Elena would try to mess things up. Just on the day of the interview, I saw Elena walk into our study right after I left the room with my CV. Back then, I thought nothing of it. I was excited for my interview and also because Keith had finally gotten a call for his interview. It was happening on the very same day. Keith didn't tell Elena because he wanted it to be a surprise when he got the job. However, things came crashing down when I came home after my interview. Keith was there, looming, super sad. I said, "Keith, what's wrong? Why do you look so sad? Did something happen at the interview?" "Carrie, I didn't get the job. Just look at my damn CV. They took one look at it and rejected me." "What are you talking about, Keith? You have the perfect CV. There is no way they were not impressed." Just then, Keith handed me his CV. I was shocked, guys. It wasn't his CV at all. It had my name and gender written on it, but everything mentioned in the CV was wrong. It painted me in a bad light and didn't contain a single word of my actual achievements. I had no idea who made this and how it got mixed with Keith's CV. I could see why bringing in something like this can create a bad impression and result in rejection. Keith was devastated. He said, "I don't understand this, Carrie. How the hell did this happen? This is not your CV either. It has a bunch of awful things written on it. It can't be that I took yours instead." "No, you didn't take mine, Keith. I had an original CV for the interview. That's how I got the job. If I had taken the one you have, they would have never given me the job." "This is so bizarre, Carrie. I'm devastated that I lost my job because of this stupid thing. I need to know how this happened. It's killing me from inside." Seeing Keith in this mental state absolutely crushed me. It was true that Keith was looking forward to the job. It pained him to lose it. I was also pretty confused about the fake CV Keith had. But then it clicked in my head. It must have been Elena who replaced Keith's CV. She had no idea Keith had an interview. She was trying to jinx my interview and failed. Immediately I was filled with anger, but I kept my cool. I needed to show Keith what Elena actually is, so I said, "I think you should ask Elena about this, Keith. I'm sure she will have some interesting information for you." What do you mean, Carrie? What does Mum have to do with this? Well, I'm sure you remember how she didn't want me getting the job. I have a feeling she was trying to get my CV replaced, so she printed out a fake CV that would destroy my chances of getting the job. No, Mum would never do that. She didn't even know I had an interview today. Exactly, Keith. She didn't know you had the interview today. If she had known, she would have been careful. I actually saw her sneaking into the office with a file in her hand. By then, I already had my CV in my bag. I guess she looked at your file cover and thought it was mine. Keith was initially in denial that his mum had something to do with it. But slowly, with my explanations and recounting of the morning's incidents, Keith was getting suspicious. It was becoming apparent to him that Elena may have had something to do with this. He decided to call her. Mum, come here right now. I need to speak to you. Keith, what's wrong? Why are you shouting so much? I'm coming. Did you mess with my CV? Answer me truthfully. What? No, why would I do that? What CV are you even talking about? I don't understand. My CV, Mum, the one I was supposed to take to my interview today. What the hell did you do with it? I didn't do anything to your CV. I didn't even know you had an interview today. Carrie was the one who had an interview. At this point, Keith narrowed his eyes at Elena and began to suspect her words. I could tell that he was connecting the dots in his head. He immediately asked her, Mum, tell me the truth. Did you tamper with Carrie's CV? I already know what you did. There is no point in lying. I don't know what you are talking about. I would do no such thing. Keith, Elena knew I had an interview. She didn't replace your CV knowingly. She wanted to swap mine and ruin my interview. That's exactly why your CV had my name and gender in the file. Mum, do you have any idea what you have done? You frickin' replaced my CV and cost me a good job. I failed the interview because of you. Mum, what the hell is wrong with you? It finally dawned on Elena that she had ended up committing a big mistake. Instead of swapping my file, she accidentally swapped Keith's file. Elena ended up costing Keith his interview. When she realized that, she immediately started to cry. She said, Keith, listen to me. This was all a mistake. I would never intentionally hurt you like that. I had no idea your interview got rescheduled. You thought that only Carrie had an interview today. And despite my warnings, you still tried to ruin her chances of getting the job. Why are you so upset about that, Keith? Your wife should not be earning more than you. If she earns more and becomes the breadwinner, no one will call you a man. She will take control of you and kick me out of your life. I did this for your good. You need to stop making yourself the martyr. Have you no shame, Carrie? You cost your son his new job. He was so excited to join this company. You ruined his chance. All this was because you couldn't stand seeing me having a better job than him. Shut up, Carrie. This is all your fault. If you hadn't tried to get a better job than Keith, I wouldn't have had to do this. There would be no mishap. Keith, this is all Carrie's fault. I told her not to go for the interview. I had no choice but to stop her. I never wanted to hurt you. I just wanted her to get rejected. Keith was already very, very pissed at this point. Hearing Elena's nonsense just set him off even more. All the times I have complained to him, Keith had never been this angry at his mum. He finally understood how cruel and manipulative she could be. Keith just snapped and tore into Elena. He said, Enough is enough, Mum. Me and Carrie brought you into our house and didn't take a penny from you. This is how you repay us. Have you no shame, Mum? You have to understand, Keith. Carrie is responsible for this. She constantly pushed my buttons and forced me to do these things. She wants me out of your life. That's why she's blaming everything on me. My wife selflessly took you in without any complaints. You are the one who started all the trouble. For months I ignored her concerns and took your side. I protected you because you are my mum. Now I can see that I did wrong. I should have kicked you out sooner. How can you say that, Keith? You can't just kick out your mum. I know you can never do it. You're just angry at me. You don't mean this. Yes, I meant every word I said. Starting today, you are never welcome in our house again. We will formally give you a month's notice. After that, I don't care where you go. You won't live with us. No. Keith, you can't do this. Carrie, you witch! You've destroyed my life. You're taking away my son. I'll never forgive you. Don't blame me, Elena. You are the one who brought this upon yourself. I did not instigate anything. You destroyed your relationship with Keith. All by yourself. You must be so happy. This is making you very happy, isn't it? I will not let you go, you witch! Saying that, Elena lunged at me and tried to grab me by my hair. She was already pulling at my scalp when Keith intervened and got her off me. He then started to scream at Elena and went apeshit on her. It got so bad that Elena started to cry uncontrollably. Keith actually threatened to press charges against her and kicked her out instantly. Elena didn't make a fuss because she was scared that Keith would really call the police. When Elena finally left the house, in her car, Keith started to calm down. But after his anger subsided, he immediately burst into tears. I guess his frustration with the interview and with Elena really made him break down. Through his tears he said, "I'm so sorry, Carrie. I really should have listened to you. I almost cost you your job because I didn't want to upset my mum. She just showed me how wrong I was about her. She attacked you, for God's sake. I don't know how to face you. I'm ashamed." "Don't say that, Keith. All this is on Elena. Please don't blame yourself for what happened. I'm not happy with being validated. It came at the expense of your job. I rather wish it was me who lost the interview." "No, I'm glad it was me. I was the one at fault. I should have kicked Mum out sooner." "Don't worry, Carrie. After today, I won't ever allow Mum into our lives. She is unhinged and a toxic woman. I am done with her." Keith promised me that Elena would never come near us again. Plus, he told me that from now on he would make more contributions to our household. He would be cutting Elena off financially as well. He said that it was unfair I paid most of our bills to allow him to help someone who hated me. Keith wanted no contact with Elena anymore. Elena did try to get in touch with Keith. It was mostly her begging for forgiveness. She initially sent me some threatening texts. After I sent her a warning about calling the police, she backtracked and begged me for forgiveness as well. She knew that she was stuck in a deep hole, no thanks to her. She was staying at Maxine's place, who knew all about her antics, and she was making her get a job to support herself. She had no intention of having her mum freeload on her. Maxine would get her revenge too. It's only a matter of time. It's been over 8 months since the incidents. Maxine has unceremoniously kicked out Elena after she pestered her to look after her. She was banned from her house, and her husband told Elena never to return. Elena was forced to move to a different state, to some relative we barely know. I sent them a nice email about Elena's antics. Yes, I found the email through Maxine. Like I've said, Maxine is a sweetheart. Our families have gotten much closer now that Elena is not here with her favouritism. Keith has also apologised to Maxine for disregarding her feelings. They are now very close and we hang out regularly. Keith has also enrolled in college so that he can get a master's degree. It would help him get a better job in his field. With my current income, we are having no trouble with money. Keith has always supported me to chase my dreams. It was only fair that I do the same for him. Elena's departure has actually made our lives better, and I hope it stays that way for the years to come.